After seeing Treevenge, we've wanted a full-length tree-killing holiday movie. And we got this, The Killing Tree.
In concept, this sounds great, and there are fun moments about it. However, it devolves into an absolute disaster. We're not gonna break the whole thing down, but I mean, it's very basic and we could probably get through it in 5 minutes, so maybe. But we will be talking full spoilers because some of the stuff that happens at the end is a big reason why I hate this movie. Before we get into talking about this movie specifically, I do want to bring attention to the director. He is also the director of the upcoming Winnie the Pooh movie that everybody is so excited for. And I was too until I watched this.
Basically, we have two serial killers. They're a couple who are in love. On Christmas, they want to slash all the people who don't believe in the true reason of Christmas. Fast forward a year later, and one of them, Clay Slater.
You mean Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah. There's a clear age gap between the two of them. It looked more like a mother-son combo than lovers. But anyways, she resurrects her lover who was executed for all of his murders, but screws up the spell and sends his soul into a Christmas tree.
And the Christmas tree gets up, and this is where we're like, oh, awesome, this movie's gonna be great. We were like, please have like green pine tree needle vignetting so we have tree cam. And we did. We got tree POV and it was great. And you see this big stupid tree because it's a fake tree, not a real tree, which is a little bit different than Treevenge. But I think this was funnier how it looked and walked because it was so stupid. It's what you would have wanted in a killer tree movie because it's so goofy. But man, does it suck. Because the practical version of the tree is so funny and then it goes to like some terrible CG tree that's the size of a house that has branches coming out and crap. And it's just awful.
And we were hoping that maybe it was just gonna be like a one-off gag when like the tree escapes through the house and like grows legs and jumps off. We're like, okay, that's pretty funny to see it run like that. But that was pretty much the rest of the film. It kept going back to CG and man, did it look terrible. You had a golden goose. You had what everyone wanted. Practical tree waddling around. Like I would have given anything to have the characters fall into the tree and look like they were dying by like getting smothered and hugging this fake Christmas tree versus a CG body rip 100 times.
Yeah, it was just bad. The point is this tree guy wants to exact revenge on the survivor of his massacre, who was the one who got him the death sentence. Her name is Faith. She's hanging out at her house. That's where her parents were murdered 1 year ago today. And she's having a Christmas party. And there's a bunch of people there that don't seem to care about her. It's very awkward. The whole party is very strange.
Can we just leave? Because I really don't want to talk to her. Like, I can't deal with her, like, negative energy.
The whole film itself is very strange because, again, we have this great practical tree, but we have flashbacks of Slater killing people that we don't get to see him actually killing people. We have long conversation pieces about relationships.
Talking about the incidents that happened.
And not only did we see the flashback, but we heard about the flashback about 3 times. Even to the point, there was one scene where our 4 ladies were talking and you could even hear the conversation. Their mouths were just moving.
Babe, we're just trying to look out for you. What do you think, babe?
Yeah, it was like the ADR just stopped or they were just sick of talking about this story. It was just so bad. But like, it's also so boring because you start off with the tree and then it's just all these long, probably like 3 5-minute long conversations about the exact same topic back to back to back. So by the time you get back to the tree, you don't care anymore. And then when you do get back to the tree, it's not the practical one, it's just a CG one for most of the movie. You're just like, oh my God, what are you doing? And every kill's almost the same. It's either lights strangling people, which is cool, do it once, or use it to trip somebody, but they use it so often, and it was just aggravating.
Which I do find comedic in the sense that this was clearly a fake Christmas tree, yet it was using like branches that sprouted out.
I didn't even think about that.
And it's just like, it kept using things that made no sense. Like, how did it grow branches when it's a fake tree? The lights made sense, I guess, but at the same time, the lights are just put on the tree. They're not a part of the tree.
You don't know anything about demonic Christmas trees, okay, John? And yes, we are trying to make sense of this illogical movie, but to some degree, you have to be grounded in their world. They give us the rules to play with, and it just doesn't make sense. Yes, why is it walking around on stumps? It's not a real tree. It's a fake tree. It's just so frustrating. Nobody cared about her. I mean, she had some friends that were like, oh, I like you and stuff. And then you got some people like, why am I even here? I hate this bitch. Let's go to the pool and hang out. Why'd you come to her party? This is her house.
You had like a run of kills that happened all at once where it's like, okay, CG branch smashing someone into the ground. CG rip in half, rinse and repeat.
An issue that's gonna come across in this video, we're gonna be talking negatively and we're gonna show you all these scenes and you're gonna be like, oh, that looks great. It's because I'm not showing you 5 to 10 minute long dialogue scenes that are basically the whole of this movie. These isolated tree scenes are very short and not sweet. They are just not good. Some scenes do look good, like when there's the practical tree walking around upstairs. Not when he's going upstairs, because he almost falls a few times, and I thought that was hilarious. But like, he's just kind of like walking down the hall, he's got a knife, and they're trying to do something cool, and this feels like that would have been a great trailer, but he doesn't use a knife. When he goes to the room, there's just 2 girls hiding, there's no suspense. It's just whatever. But let me tell you the worst part about this movie. Aside from some of the costume choices, it's the ending. Because we've got 2 really bad endings just smashed back to back. The first one, she's like tied to a tree with garland that he just randomly found. And in comes the white, holiest of trees that are the embodiment of her dead parents. What?
Ye are the ones that stay tethered to this world.
We are good, you are evil.
Ye are the good to your evil, yin to your yang.
Even in their world, it's not like his ex-lover resurrected her parents and made a tree. And why would it be here? It's like not a supernatural thing except for this one tree.
The lore of this film made no sense.
But what's worse than the lore being incorrect is it's all a dream. It's all a fucking dream. Faith was just off in the forest, hanging by herself, and nothing happens. Her friend is just like, oh, we've been looking for you all night. You must have walked out during the party. Nobody died.
Look, I'm fine. We were all looking for you.
There was already a bad ending, and then there is a worse ending, because the worst ending to any movie is gonna be, it was all a dream. Because you as the audience member are like, well, that was a waste of time. Why do we even care about all these flashbacks and all this stuff if none of it means anything?
Why did we have to see flashbacks of Slater when it's a dream that Faith is having where she wouldn't even have lived those flashbacks? That's him talking with his lover, the whole buildup of why he hated Christmas.
You're right. Whose flashbacks are those?
Those are Slater's flashbacks.
So why is Faith having those flashbacks?
That's what I'd like to know.
Like, why do we learn about any of the friends' relationships, whether romantically or just, we've been friends for 5 years, or we've been such long friends? Like, none of that matters, because at the end of the day, a girl just went into the woods and sulked. And that was it.
There was a tree in her dream.
Maybe if that's not even worse, they were like walking away like, let's leave this house behind. It's like, okay, well, sure, you can just leave that house. And then they're walking away, and then you get red eyes in the trees. What's going on here? So was there ever a tree? Was there a dream? Was it like a third fake out ending? It doesn't matter. None of them are good. We had 3 endings to choose from. Either the tree blows up and becomes a really nice campfire. 2, she's just been grieving over her dead parents in the middle of the forest and none of her friends seem to notice until hours later. And 3, the tree did exist but didn't do anything the entire movie and was just sitting in her front lawn and decided to come alive at the last moment while she's leaving.
I refuse all of those endings. I refuse this whole film.
I refuse.
You have so much potential. That's the part that irritates me the most. You have a practical tree. You know what the people want. They want a so bad it's good moment with a tree killing people. We don't get that.
It's just so bad, it's actually just worse than bad. The 2 so bad it's good moments were the tripping on the stairs, but one better is when he hangs that girl and you can see her just standing on a chair.
We were debating on whether they were just adding stuff in to meet the runtime, or it was just like they shot a scene and then thought, let's throw some CG in. None of it really felt like it was a cohesive unit, and it dragged on. Like, this was a slow film.
And it's only an hour and 12 minutes. And the beginning part was shot way better than the rest of the movie. So you think you got something pretty solid going in. Like, the first 4 minutes or so is a way different tone than the rest of the movie.
I just like how all of our flashbacks we got, they had that almost like a blue tint on them, and it was established like last Christmas. And then we had a flashback that Faith was having, and it just looked like a normal part of the film. There was no consistency.
Like that one time where there's potentially a throwing star scene, but they cut it out of the movie, replace it with CG, except for maybe like 1 second of the star with some like fishing line. I want to know what happened in the editing room. The writer and director was the same guy who was the producer, the executive producer, and the editor, which I always feel is a big mistake, because if you're running the entire show, you're making all the decisions. But there had to have been an outside influence, because why the CG stuff? I don't get it. He was the VFX supervisor though. Yeah, it's just like, I learned a thing, and 2 of the kills are gonna be identical. We're gonna use the exact same animation and just change out the model.
I like how we were going back and forth at the pool scene. Like, is it the girl or the guy getting ripped in half here? Like, we couldn't really tell.
Right, because it's just like gender neutral, putty animated person. Just like, okay, rip them in half. That's why I'm so concerned about Blood and Honey. I wanted to watch it, and now I don't want to watch it.
I know the trailer shows us some like life-size like people in a costume, but
by the time you end up watching the movie, they're all gonna be CG or something.
We're gonna get some tigers bouncing in the air like that tree was jumping off of the house.
Yeah, it's gonna be this movie just like swapped out with different models. Hey, I've seen that before, that BC-14 who does all those Trump versus the Illuminati and Bigfoot versus Megalodon. Same movies, different models.
5 minutes later.
It definitely got me out of the holiday spirit. Not really. It just made me mad.
We still dress up. We watched the movie and we still decided to dress up. Let's talk about the movie. Let's get in the holiday spirit. We go watch Treevenge. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It gives you everything that you want. I'm not gonna go over everything we've already said. The movie's not very good, but there are some moments that look better than others, and there is a practical tree in some scenes, and in those moments, I enjoyed them. But they were few and far between. The rest of the movie sucks, and the ending, I hate it. I hate the ending. But there was enough reasonable stuff that I have to give it a 1 oversized glass of wine out of 5.
This was just too much of a letdown for me. Everything in this film was just a missed opportunity, and I didn't have fun watching it. I was bored. I don't think anyone should probably watch this. I mean, maybe, you know what, that's a little harsh. It's the holidays. Give it a shot, but I'm just giving you a forewarning. It's not really worth the watch. So with that being said, I give this film half a random blindfold tennis scene out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't, you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything we're doing here on Bloodbath TV.